Yeah, thank you, Chris, and good evening, everyone of you all. Good to see all of you all, and I'm very happy to be here tonight, to be invited by Chris and to be with Chong Beng,
Hi everyone, good evening.
to share a bit about some experience and hopefully some wisdom in terms of success. I think that in the 21st century we are in, it's radically speaking, a lot of changes and very exciting times. For the last 20 years of my life, it's been the most exciting time that's happening to me because of all the changes. I grew up in an environment where if I want to watch TV, I have to go to the TV and switch on and go back. And there was like 3 channels on. And during my time, the TV was Telefunken, and the only cartoon which I had was Scooby-Doo. Right now, the rapid changes is happening. We have so much choices from Netflix, Disney, and all these channels being on at the fingertip. So the rapid changes of society has created a lot of opportunity for success. And the biggest investment, I like the way McKinsey puts it, in the 21st century, the war for competition is actually on people. Each one of us as human beings are the underutilized resources in the world. It's not computer system, it's not gold, it's not wood, it's not anything which you name, but each one of us need to invest in ourselves to bring out the capability as well as capacity within us. And that's why I see the 21st century success there. Also, the other thing that's happening in the 21st century is that, radically speaking, we have first time in the history of mankind, we have 5 generations of people in the workforce, 5 different philosophy, 5 different work ethics, 5 different set of values that's happening in workforce. Let me share with you. You may want to write this down. The first group of people which I look at is actually what we refer to as the silent generation. The generation or the traditionalists, that people that's born between 1930 to 1945. These people itself are what they call their success. They measure success by, once they have a good job, be grateful you have a good job. And my parents come from those generation, and every time when I talk to them, they say the goal in life is become successful by having a good job with a branded company. And that's why a lot of us go to university and get a higher education to get a good job. The second group of people is between the age of the time period of 1945 to the time of 1964. These are referred to the baby boomers. The baby boomers are the post-war generation of baby boomers, which their main goal is to actually telling themselves that they deserve more. So this was the wealth building phase, that philosophy they created. If you meet people in those generation of people, they will talk to you about money. To them, creating wealth and success is actually success. No, as much money as possible, right? Then you have the people on the third generation, which I call Generation X, which is some of us, including myself, is born in that generation between 1965 to 1980. And we measure success by being realistic. If some of us will come to us and tell us that this project can be very successful, I'll sit down and tell them, let's get real. Where's the limitation? Where is the weakness? Where's the strength behind that? So we grew up with a different set of philosophy as well, right? But again, from us, beyond that itself, at the Generation Y period, which is people born from 1981 to 1994, they are actually children of benefits from the baby boomers generation, where they have everything. To them itself, life is a buffet. You know, their success is measured by own time, own target to experience different things in life and getting meaningful experience out of that. You know, of course, we also have people from 1995 onwards, what they call the Generation Z, right? People in that generation itself are 60% of people in those generations, they would like to change the world. So they measure success by the ability to change the world through sustainable living, energy, as well as green environment, as well as natural stuff or native things to the body. And it's very interesting. If you meet up with them, they are actually coping. They'll tell you they're coping and hoping that the world is a better place. So a lot of times when people come and meet up with me, sometimes they meet up with people from a different generation itself. They get frustrated. But I hope that this will share some light upon knowing that they come from different life experience, different background, and that's why that determines their life values and the way they carry out determining themselves. And you have the opportunity, we have the diversity right now to be able for you to work with each one of those generations. And it's the diversity among the team that will create emotional as well as intelligence for you to succeed in the 21st century. And I believe that people tend not to associate with people they do not know, right? They tend to click together. But this is the opportunity for you to connect with all this different generation. Another exciting part about the 21st century, especially the last 10 years, is that there's a rise of women in the workforce. In fact, I do see more men staying at home and taking care of kids as well, or doing home business also at the same time. So there are studies being done that shown that 91% of advertisers don't really understand what women want out of whatever they're targeting, right? So, and this is a very powerful force, the rise of women. It is so big that you can't imagine it, that even if you combine India and China together, it's 2 times bigger than that. So this is another group of audience. And I welcome you guys, maybe after this talk, to talk to people around you, to share with them, especially some women, in terms of how they define success. Because we're still trying to understand more, because they are coming out of the workforce, they're rising up, and we need to understand how we can work together to succeed more in terms of, be it your colleagues, be it a project, be it whatever things you're working on. And it's been very exciting for me the last 20 years to do that. So I hope that will share a bit of light about the landscape we're in and the opportunity for us to do whatever you believe in to be successful. I define success more than just having the finance as well as the time freedom for myself, but also the ability for me to influence other people. That to me is success. So you may have your own definition as well. Okay, Chong Beng, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah. So yeah, like what Derek mentioned, there are just different definition of success to different people. And if we just like take a step back, ultimately, whatever that we're doing, what is the end results that or the end goal that we want to achieve is what? We want to achieve this thing called happiness, right? So after doing all this thing, if we find that we are successful, probably we'll find happiness. So I would say, and thanks for saying all these things, Derek. Like there are like 5 generations, and each have different definition of success. And I can also hear the frustration when people have when they start to talk to people and they interact in a different way. Then how come the success? Well, some talk about money, some talk about bigger vision to make the world a better place. So that creates conflict. So thanks for bringing light to that. And what I'm hearing is at the end, everybody wants to be happy. So maybe consider the end goal of success is so that we can all achieve happiness in certain form. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So for me, I think that the way, based on my experience itself, to be successful itself, there are 3 fundamental things, attributes which you need to look at in order for you to be successful. Be it a life success, be it a business success, or whatever success you want to create. There are 3 things. We call it ASK. You may know about that. Attitude, skills, as well as knowledge. So attitude, skills, and knowledge. These are 3 very fundamental attributes we need to have in order for us to create a success story which we have. So I'd just like to take this opportunity to really share with you in terms of these these three things. So if I ask you today, out of these three things, which do you think is the most relevant and most important? Which out of these three factors of success, which factor itself is the most domineering out of all? So why don't we take this opportunity to look at some attributes which we look at for people. So you think back upon the people you admire, be it your parents, be it your grandparents, or your uncle, or your auntie yourself that's single-handedly bring up the children, the hero in which you admire since you're young, and basically so a lot of times the people we admire, the attributes which they have, attracts us to pay attention to them because this is what internally what we desire to be like them. That's the reason behind them. So it could be a leader of the country, it could be a band member, it could be anyone. I just wanted you to think through this in terms of what are the attributes that attract you to them, right? So I made a list of some of these attributes of people which I admire, and I'd like to go through with each one, some of these attributes. But after this talk itself, I hope that you do this exercise yourself, and then we'll see how we can classify in terms of attitude, skills, and knowledge with some of these attributes. And I'm sure you have more than that, but this is what I have right now. So maybe you can also key in there. So first attribute which I have, which I admire about people is integrity, right? Gratitude is the second one, right? So integrity itself, do you think it's an attitude? Do you think it's a skill? Do you think it's a knowledge? Gratitude, you just put A there, S there, or K there, right? Gratitude, influence, empathy, courage, respect, persistent, focus, visionary, posture, passionate, driven, risk taker, adaptive to different environment, and determined. So these are typical, some of the characteristics which we can come up with, and let's try and define each one of them and see whether it belongs to attitude, skills, and knowledge. Integrity is an attitude, right? Gratitude is also an attitude. Influence is attitude plus skill. Empathy is an attitude. Courage is also an attitude. Respect is also an attitude. Persistent, it's also an attitude. Focus is a skill, right? Focus is a skill, right? Visionary, it's attitude plus you need knowledge behind that. Posture is also attitude. Passion is also attitude. Driven is also attitude. And risk taker is attitude plus knowledge, right? Because you have good attitude, but you don't have knowledge, it also doesn't work. Adaptive is attitude and skill. And determination is attitude. So let's count the number of attitude, skills, and knowledge based on some of these key characteristics of the heroes and the people which we look upon. And let's take a look. So we have how many in total, Chris?
Oh, 14. Attitude.
How many attitude?
14.
14. How many skill?
Skill, not that much. I lost count.
3 skills and 2 knowledge. So fundamentally speaking, you can go through this exercise itself, but it means to you that each one of us that in order for you to be successful, because successful people which you mirror upon, the fundamental factor is attitude. Attitude is the key, because that is the power for you to influence others, as well as that is the power for you to empower yourself. So attitude itself is something which will be able to translate into success. But attitude is not something which I can train someone on. Attitude is not like aptitude. I can train you to develop your skills, or I can impart your knowledge. It's something which you have or you have not. Right? So how do you go about having the attitude which you need to influence the people, to change the behavior? What happens? Right? I give you a simple example. The problem today out there in the marketplace, for me itself, for the last 30 years in my life, ever since I came back to Singapore or in Asia, doing business in Asia, I cut out all the negative noise, right? If you look at it, we're all surrounded in social media as well as news about bad news, right? Because that's how our bodies being designed, human beings being designed, because we become connected with fear. Now, this is our survival instinct in us. When something is negative, we get attracted to look at it. And then over time, it starts to influence us, because whatever negative out there itself will impact, because the way our mind works, our creative process works to determine our destiny is based on whatever input inside. Like it or not, all this negativity that's being surrounded by news, media, or people around you has an impact on each one of us. Has an impact. I give you a very simple example. I grew up in Australia, and when I was there, some very concerned friends was actually fearful that I don't end up knowing any Chinese. Because we speak English over there, or we speak Australian over there. So over time itself, they say, hey, the best way for you to learn Chinese is actually through music, songs, So they introduced me this person called Wang Jie, and basically asked me to listen to his music so that I can learn about Chinese. So I listened to Wang Jie, 一场游戏一场梦. And so after a while, I got very lonely and heartbroken. And I didn't even have a girlfriend then. So and the result of that is, hearing all this music itself, I told myself I got to stop listening to it, number one. Number two, since then I have not been able to pick up Chinese as well, not that well. But that's where your eyes and your ears itself will have the input in the world. So there are many, many great books that actually write you to have positive thinking and things like that. But most of the time, I find that a lot of these, all these books which has been written, which are good to help you to have a positive mindset. But there's only two things which I think fundamentally, that's what I practice upon to help me to stay positive, right? If positivity and attitude is the way to predominantly to create success, then number one, what I have to do is I have to protect my mind, right? So you have to be able to cut off all this negativity. People coming out to you and tell you this is not possible, this project is not going to work, or that thing is not going to happen. And you just have to cut it out, right? And focus on abundance as well as positive things, so that at least you can have the right set of feedback into your head, because our mind works that way. With the positivity inside us, then we can have positive expectation of what we want to create to be successful. Does it make sense? Right? Our mind works so that if you have this positive attitude, then you can create positive expectation of what you want to achieve, right? What's your expectation will lead you back to your most amazing mind for you to create the creating process, to have that positive expectation on just yourself as well as your teammates and people around you. So you need to have that stimulus, the right stimulus in mind. And of course, in life itself, the equation is, to me, is very simple. Events plus response equals the outcome. Some of the events we cannot control, like currently what the government is doing, good or bad, or things like that, or what the world is going through. But what determines the outcome of what you do things is based on how you can respond to it, right? So have a positive attitude, have hopeful, have a euphoria, get excited about all the possibility that's happening, the opportunity out there, so that your mind can work towards a creative process. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah.
You got
Perfect
anything to
sense.
add? Yeah.
Yeah. And what I'm hearing from you, Derek, is you are very mindful about what is entering into your mind. And if it's not something that's empowering you, you will filter them off.
Yep.
So keep it very, very positive. And at the same time, I heard the word focus. So you're also very clear towards those things that you want.
Mhm.
And if it's not related, you will also just set it aside.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I like what you say, events, response, and then the outcome. So yeah, like, can you give an example, like event, response, or outcome, so that people can actually understand a bit more, like what do you mean by if like I just now you gave the example of the government. So maybe we could be what? Can I just my interpretation? So people get upset with certain rules or whatever.
Yeah.
But that is something that is what? That is the event itself. And if we relate that based on the event, the outcome is actually we can't do anything.
You can't do anything. The events, you can't do anything, but if you can respond and you blame people, and then you blame other people out of that, the outcome
it's just
is negative,
more negativity.
more negative, and you will suffer.
Okay.
You will not be able to put in the right mindset for you to create the success we want to.
So what you mean is, instead of looking at the event, look at how we respond to the event,
Yeah.
and then that will determine the outcome that we have.
Yeah.
So instead of like complaining or being upset about it, we can respond in a different way.
Different way. Yeah, you can ignore it. You can, because there's nothing much you can do it, and things like that, and just do whatever you can to create and refocus your energy into the right place. Right. So these are some of the things which you have to bear in mind. The other thing which you have to watch out is, for example, is how when you're learning how to, all of us learn how to drive, and what's the one thing which you need to do when you learn how to drive? You have to look at the road, right? What happens? You look at the trees as well as the buildings around you. What will happen to your car?
Go to the trees.
Go to the trees. Go to the
building.
Go to the building by itself, right? Or it's very, very, very. If someone is doing a tightrope on top of the tall building, that's walking across the tightrope. What's the cardinal rule which you cannot do? What you cannot do is you never look down, because your eyes will tend to follow. Your body will follow where your eyes go. Right? So I hope that makes sense to you. So always look at things that are try give you the abundance, the hope, all the positive things in you also. Like, I love to look at sunset and sunrise and things like that. Why doesn't the news show this sort of thing? Because it doesn't create that negativity for attract you, but it is something very important to create. If you can calm your mind for 20 minutes, in some meditation, you do meditation or spiritual praying or whatever, things like that, you are actually at a higher level already. The problem is that our mind itself are not work out that way to stay calm. Our mind are going through 1001 things with stimulus out there. So we need to make sure that we can protect it with the right type of stimuli so that we can carry on. Yeah. Okay, so that is talking about attitude, which we need to put a positive attitude in place to create success. Okay. The second thing which I want to talk on is skills. The skills itself, if I ask you this is one skill which if anyone can master, companies, employers, as well as team people or whatever, will pay you a lot of money to have that skill. Would you like to know what skill that is? Would you like to know what is the skill which people will, the master of all skill to create success?
Yep. Yeah.
The key word here is focus. Focusing on the project which you need to do, focusing on the common mission which you need to serve as well as to perform in order for you to work as a project or as a team for you to move forward. Focusing is very important. It's a 80 rule. If you're given a task with 100% of activities, but if you can focus on the 20% of the activities that give you the highest impact of 80% of the productivity, you will get 16 times return. 16 times return, right? So I like to share with you that we as human beings, we also learn from some of the great success people in life, as well as we also learn from the animal kingdom. I give you an example that as a lion in the animal kingdom itself, they can have a mouse or can run all over a lion without being eaten by the lion. Do you know the reason behind that? The reason behind that is, in order for the lion to catch the mouse, he has to dispense so much energy that when he catches the mouse and eat it, the nutrition is not going to be enough to feed him for the energy which is given out. If he were to spend the whole day chasing mice all over his back and eating them, he will not survive. So what you need to do is you and the team itself need to be able to identify what are these major activities that will be able to, don't get your team as well as yourself to be chasing mice, because that will not be able to be effective. Through focusing itself, I know that a lot of times people teach people about that you need to have clarity and conviction that why you're doing certain things, certain projects, certain business, or why you're taking on this responsibility. But only through focusing, then you can have a clarity on what you need to do. The clarity to do what you need to do is so fundamental for you to focus so that you can leverage, right? And a lot of successful people know this concept of focusing. I give you another example. Bill Gates, for example, if he would drop $100 bill on the floor, by the time he bent over and picked up the $100 bill, the time lost, he makes more in interest payment. He can actually ignore that $100 bill and walk on by and do other things, right? So the fundamental issue of time management and to be able to be productive for yourself is so important. I know that we spend our time wanting to do achieve a lot of things, hope for the best and things like that. But if you don't put your to-do list and scheduling what you need to do to hit your goals, to be whatever success you want to do, if you don't schedule it down, it will never be done. And if you don't schedule it down to do this and prioritize them, you drift. You'll end up having pockets of 1 hour here, which you do something, and another hour there doing something else. And by the time you know it, at the end of the day, it's gone, right? That district yourself. How many times people tell each other that, wow, the time really flies. It's been 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, and 1 year. So the sense of urgency is created when you take action in terms of what you want to achieve by designing yourself, by putting it down on the pen. And I think that's a very important aspect about focusing, because with that itself, you will be able to know what you need to achieve. But having said in mind that all the great success I've known in the last 20 years all proceed with some form of disappointment and failure beforehand. It all happens. I give you another example. And when I was younger at that time, I loved to go snow skiing, and I'm the person that pick up skiing by myself, And so one day itself, we had a coach, a trainer that came in and decided to give us some lesson. So throughout the whole day itself, I didn't fall down. I was skiing down the black slope, the red slope, the green slope, and things like that. And by the end of the day, I was very happy and very pleased with myself. I went up to the coach, and the coach told the coach, hey, I didn't fall down at all. No, I did pretty good, you know. And instead of saying that I did well, he told me that I didn't do well. The reason why I didn't fall is because I didn't push yourself hard enough. I didn't push myself hard enough. Remember, as human beings, you have to invest in yourself because we are the greatest asset. It's you, each one of us. We have unlimited potential. We have unlimited capability that have not discovered. All we need to do is take action to believe in ourselves. And to believe in ourselves, you need to have small steps of confidence. And the way to do it is to have that piece of paper to write down what you need to do every day, to be clear about the goals you need to achieve, to focus on it. Because if you can focus the 20% of the 20%, you will get even more productive return. And you can focus the 20% of 20% of 20%, you will become even more ROI, no matter what sort of project you're on, be it life project, be it success project. You have to believe that. And this is the master of all skill of success, right? These two things, good attitude, the attitude have to be right, the focus has to be correct, the knowledge itself can come easily. During this time, people ask me that, you know, they cannot connect. I miss the time also to meet up live with people. But I always tell people, take this opportunity to attend some Zoom talk. At the same time also, buy some books to read out the biography of people. It could be an actor, actress, it could be anyone at all. We learn by observation. 97% of observation learning comes from us. Whoever we admire can be found in books, can be found in Zoom, can be found in live interaction, right? Because we as human beings learn how to speak even before we read. Like it or not, 97%, whatever you're doing right now, you're being observed. You're being observed. So set a good example for yourself, not just for yourself, for your family, for your children, for your loved ones, and so on, right? So that you can create the right expectation on them. It's no different from school teachers and children. Children itself will perform because of the expectation which parents and teachers given to them. And that's how they rise up. So this is how you're going to rise up. Find it within your intrinsic value of yourself to be able to have high expectation of what you can do. If you need some help, borrow it from people around you that you trust. From that itself, you will rise to the next level by pushing yourself. It's okay to fall along the way. But over time, you'll be amazed how amazing your creative person is, the mind is, and what you can achieve. And I hope that some of these experiences that I've gone through in life can help you guys. Thank you, Chong Beng.
Okay, yeah. Thanks, Derek. Yeah. So I what I'm hearing is, well, yeah, the three fundamentals of success. It doesn't seem like it's like a linear curve where you go about. And I like the part that you shared about when you did well, your coach actually said that you're not risking it. So because you didn't fail, so you're not learning. So does that apply into our like the journey that we have in this platform here as well?
Yeah. I believe that the statistics people give from being average to distinguish in your, let's say, exam result. It's a 23% difference. It's like a curve, a bell curve. Average is 23 to 20%. But it's not true. Human beings, when we get the concept of being able to clarity with focus and leverage itself, is exponential. The average is here. It's exponential. So what Chong Beng says is right. I've seen it. I met a lot of successful people in my life from different countries because I've been quite blessed with the last 20 years of working experience with different clients from different industries around the world. And I believe that 4 years ago when I saw ASEA, it's a platform for human potential. The work values, the values and ethos was what attracts me most, and right now, this is the most cost-effective vehicle, safe vehicle for you to plunge on, for you to be able to grow yourself here, and with this amazing technology. Again, ASEA is, of course, all this in line. For you to grow a bigger enterprise, you need alignment. And that alignment comes with three things: the mission, vision, and goals of ASEA that's being put in place, right? I like the mission to better the world, but the vision of these three things, this core intertwined pillars is so fundamental for you to align with your team, which is life-changing technology, products and technology, financial, opportunity plus culture, using the one and only redox space blue ocean technology out of the market. Opportunity as well as mission and vision like that doesn't come that easily in any industry. So take this opportunity to think about something which I've said. Hopefully it makes sense. Try out a couple of examples of the experiment which I carry out and ask yourself, what do you believe, what you want out of life? What aspects of success you want to create, and what are you willing to do about it? And how your people around you, your community, your teammates can help you to do so, to achieve that together. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Derek. After hearing you, I see hope as well. Okay, on being able to achieve certain thing, because I'm asked to share about the three things as well. So, okay, I got a lot of insight from what you share, and of course, some of those things that I'm prepared to share some of them are aligned to what you're saying. So I do see that there's a chance for me to maybe become ambassador or ambassador double diamond along the way. And so for myself, when I was asked this question, what are the three core things that that is important or got me to where I am now? By the way, this account is being shared with Ivan, so it's I'm referring to I as in this whole me and Ivan. Okay. So when we talk about this, one of the very first thing that I was looking at was the purpose, which probably where to focus on, and I would say the purpose not just for the short term of purpose like making money, like we talk about success, there are different definition, but at a purpose whereby after considering everything that ASEA have, would this be a thing whereby I'll be doing it for like a year, 2 years, then I make the money, then I'll probably jump into something else? Or if this is something that I would probably spend my life, my next 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years, continuing doing what I want to do over here. And if this fit into that criteria of a long term, then I think I would have found my purpose. So I love to use this is have your end in mind before you start. So before starting, what is the part that is important to you? And can this be something, in order to be successful, work on something that, what Derek mentioned, passion, something that you're passionate about. If there's no passion about it, if the passion is just making money, then I realize people started off wanting to make money and they will actually get very upset and leave because they can't make the money. And this will be a vicious cycle that will continue on. So I was really asking myself, like, what is the purpose, that I want? And one of the very big purpose is, I would say, to make a difference to people's life. And I do see that this technology is able to impact people's health. And through like hearing from Derek, I believe our mental health will improve a lot as well. So, and of course, if we practice this, probably on a spiritual aspect, we'll grow as a person as well. So I can see that is something very fulfilling. That is something that I see that even without money, would I do it? I would do it, but I'll do lesser because I still need to make a living. So what ASEA has is also another aspect whereby there is a financial aspect, which Terry mentioned, which will take care of me while doing all this contribution. And I do find that to be fulfilled, to be happy, it is not about just being about me or just ourselves. And I can hear and through this probably 2 years plus 3 years interaction with Derek, he's always looking at a bigger picture of how to improve the lives of more people. And this is really contribution to make a difference. And when the focus is, or when the focus or the purpose is much bigger than ourselves, I do see we'll be able to embrace and actually increase our potential rather than just because when we're just focusing on ourselves without a purpose, a bigger purpose, then a lot of things is very mundane and it comes for all the selfish reasons. So what I do see is first thing is the purpose that you have in mind. So maybe you can ask yourself, what is the purpose that you have in your life? And for some people, as I speak to more and more people, this probably could be the first time you're being asked a question like this. So do take time to think about it. What is your purpose in life? What fulfills you as a person? Okay, and of course, I do get a lot of people answering. I'm not sure you get that. A lot of people say, I want to make more money.
Sure.
Do you have that as well?
Course, yeah.
Okay, that's important because I also want to make more money. But beyond the money, what is your bigger purpose? What is your bigger goal? What is your bigger dream? And have that. That is the first thing. And the second thing and third thing, probably I'll just say it first, is how can we translate thoughts into actions, which Barry have mentioned earlier. That is really important. And the third thing that I think is super important as well is I like to use this word called grit, G-R-I-T. And I was looking up in the dictionary, grit means courage and resolve. And then, okay, I have limited vocabulary. So I went on, and what is resolve? Resolve is the determination to solve, okay, to get things done. Okay, so these are my second point and third point, which certain part I have heard Derek sharing as well. So I'm very glad that, we are aligned in that as well. So let's go to the second part is, how do we translate our thoughts to actions? And what Derek have shared is very true. A lot of times when things are just happening inside because of all the news, because of all the things that is happening around us, we get very negative. So most of the times, the thoughts that we have in our head are what? Are just fear. Fear of something bad happening. But I'm glad that Derek shared. In fact, we need to fail so that we can succeed. The fear of failing is in fact one of the biggest things that used to stop me. Because what if the very thought of failing is like as if I will die. That was for a while, and until a point in my life whereby I hit rock bottom, where I don't even have my savings. My bank account is not even zero; it's negative. So that was a point whereby I realized I actually have nothing else to lose. And the moment I realized when I have nothing else to lose, then that is where I have everything to gain. So how can I translate that thoughts into action is first, you must come to a point whereby you must give yourself the power. And I agree with Derek, the pen is mightier than the sword. So one part is start to write down all those actions that you have. And very importantly, not only in writing down the actions, they must be into a schedule so that they can be executed. And before execution, the thoughts behind it is so important. If we are coming out from fear, what are the chances of you executing it? So when I come from fear, most of the time is what? I'm not sure you all have experienced this thing called procrastination. That's where should I do or should I not do? Should I do? Or because what? The context of coming to take the action is from fear. And sometimes, because I have a lot of failure from my past, so when I think of doing something, the past got reminded now, then I look at it, then I got a lot of pain because there was a lot of suffering that I went through. So that also caused the same thing called procrastination. So when we actually start to translate the thoughts into actions, we must really start to look at when we are writing down all these things, are we coming from an empowering mindset, or are we coming from the past of suffering, pain, or from the future of fear? And if we can be present, like, okay, this is the one and only action that I can do now. And if we can come from an empowering context, then that action will be fun. That action will be fulfilling. So every time when I do something, I will look at a bigger picture about what am I able to achieve if I meet up with this friend. So I'll start to list out all these little things that I need to do. Probably first, I'll just catch up with friends. Instead of trying to get anything out of it, I would really just go there and be a friend and just meet up with them and see what is important to them in their life. And if there's something that is important, if I can help them to solve their problem, then there will be something that we can talk further. If not, then leave it, let that be, and we maintain a friendship. So how do we do that is what? Firstly, you have to put them into from the thoughts to your actions, and the actions come with the medium, which is your schedule. So putting them into schedule is so important in life. And I probably that is one of the key success factor that I have actually learned along the way throughout this probably 17, 18 years of entrepreneurships. And I see that every time when I have things written down, they start to happen. And initially, when we start to write them down, I would say there will be the fear of failing. But I also came from this empowering context that every time when I fail, I'm learning something. So I'll go out and I'll test out those things that I hear from people, through the Zoom session, through sharing from Derek, from any other people, and I'll test it out. And sometime when I test it out, what is the result? Okay, it's a disaster. So when I first learned about the 3 in 5, like the Renew 28, 3 in 5, I heard it from Dr. Silverman. So I was like, okay, why must I do it 3 in 5? So I tested on my friend 1 time, 2 times, then no response. Then I was like, So I thought he say every time were people, you ask 1 to 10. So I realized sometimes I forgot to ask. And it was a disaster during my first few tries. And of course, where can I come from? I can come from a disempowering context that, hey, maybe this is not for me. But I told myself, this is probably the best story. My failure is my best story because from here, I can learn this. And through this thing that I learned, I can actually now make a difference to the next 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people, or 1 million people that I'm coming into contact with. But and I'm thankful to that person that makes me feel. That makes me see, okay, there are knowledge that I'm lacking. But when the attitude is there, then the knowledge, like what Derek said, it is the least important because it can be picked up. But what really stops me, okay, in the past is what? The fear of like making some mistake and then not being able to do well. But if I can be that I'm learning, and if I can learn from my mistakes, then failing is not really failing. In fact, it is really helping me to grow as a person and to have empathy for others that will meet similar situation, or others who will fail along the way. But really, it's not failure. We will only fail when we actually stop trying. And that's one of my firm beliefs. So that is the part whereby, how can we translate those thoughts into actions is write them down and have them scheduled. And when the time comes, just do it. Simple. And anything from you, Derek, to add on this, I would love to hear from you as well.
Yeah, fully agree with what Chong Beng is doing. I mean, his journey on ASEA has been very amazing. How he came from a rock and a hard place and become the success both him and Ivan has achieved. I think that's really incredible. And a lot of that is due to the purpose-driven mission which they have. and for them to carry out activities of small steps of success along the way and learning curve along the way as well. And enjoy your process. For me, so I'm still doing what I did 4 years ago. I'm still connecting with new people out there, friends, and things like that. But every time when I connect with someone, even before I share with them the technology, but I just had a meeting with them, I reward with myself with a donut. So some of these mundane things, which we carry on doing to keep ourselves consistent, in order for us to get to that 20% of high impact things, of engaging with them directly and things like that, reward yourself along the way so that you don't keep yourself drifting. It's very easy for you to drift because to be focused is not a natural tendency of the human mind, right? The human mind is to wander, it's to wander around. I could easily spend some time looking at a Squid Game in Netflix, and next thing I know, the whole day has gone by. But does that fulfill your goal which you want to achieve to be successful? Whatever you want. Your success could be a seer, your success could be introducing people to a seer or some other things, it doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is that you and me, all of us, is underutilized. We are the most underutilized resources in the world. It's been 4 years which I focus on a seer. And I look at it, just by doing some of this basic fundamental success, which Chong Beng and I talk about, I have 30,000 people.
Oh, that's a lot.
Across 30 countries. Different parts of it. And some of them I don't even know. But just consistently sharing this technology. As long as you have a meaningful experience of a seer product, and you believe in the science behind that, either way or all, write down as your goals as something to share with it on a weekly basis, and plan out some of the daily activities for you to do that. And for me, it was very simple. I make sure that I meet up with, or I contact one person per day. Make sure that I meet up with a person per day, and just by doing that, through the force of nature, through doing the right things, having the right attitude, and along the time, I build up my knowledge. You can learn by observation. There are a lot of contents out there, or you can learn by experience. I'm someone that learned by experience. I need to meet up with people. People need to ask me questions, which I had to go back and seek the answer myself. And that's how I built myself. So you have your own way of learning. But the best part about it is observe the leadership we put in place. Singapore leaders, Malaysia leaders, Asia leaders, as well as the US leadership. Tremendous people with great, good values in place that makes this a very unique platform to be in. So take advantage of that. The office is in 111 Somerset. If I were you, one of my action item will be to bring people here. That's it. Or spend your time here. You can always go downstairs to eat your lunch there and come up here to sit down. We're still open on Tuesday to Friday, or meet up with some of your key leaders and come up with a game plan and say that let's have a goal, and we can refine the goal along the way to have higher expectation, or to make it more consistent, to have high expectation. But believe in yourself. You need to have high expectation of what you can do. Remember, this 21st century is full of amazing opportunity. And don't miss out on this, because we only have one life. And time is something which we cannot stop.
Yep. Yeah. And okay. So when you talk about goal, this is one word that when I hear Derek is it brings me a lot of bad memories, because one of the very first company that I actually signed up with, the goal setting is a lot of pain. So when I hear this word from you, goal, okay, it is something that I realized through my almost like coming to 3 years in this year. I don't like to set goal for people, but why is because of that past experience. And I also realized to be successful, we need to set goals. I do set goals for myself, and I apologize to all of you who have never really talked about goal with you all because of that past. I don't want to have that suffering past to people. But do I set goal for myself? I do set goals, yeah. And all these things, I'll have planned it down, and then I will have actually plans to do it. But that word itself might not bring about a good experience, especially for me. I'm not sure about the rest. Some people get very fearful, stressful, and when they hear this word goal, I do see people who are successful, they really have their goals in place and they're very clear about it. And yeah, so
Yeah.
maybe we should talk about that.
Let me share with you, this goal setting is not about just a seer. In fact, some of the billionaires which I know of, when I share with them, ask them what is the secret of success, they'll give me a piece of paper, have 3 set goals in place. They do it every Sunday, and then they list down the activities they need to do. And we're talking about billions, and we're talking about people that own manufacturing plant, big plants and things like that, as well as major electronics company and all this stuff. They set goals. I set goals to my people which I employ in my own firm to drive it up from 3 person to 200 people before we went public listing with a major conglomerate in Singapore. It is the practice of all activities to create a common cause and alignment and a mission. Without setting that goals, you will not know what is the common alignment, right? So that is a very important process which I apply. I used to have people that work for me, groups by groups, and basically they will set goals and they will have common vision, common mission to carry out, and then they will carry on to serve the common mission as a team. And that gives a lot of synergy because there's no one person that can conquer the world. And that's the beauty of the 21st century today, because we are no longer aligned as a hierarchical structure. It's all network, it's all collaboration, it's all cooperation, it's all enrollment, it's all to be able to work as a team of shared values. And that's where the empowerment is going to come, no matter what you do, and including the CA.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. So in terms of that part, then the third one that I actually have, when I was thinking through is just now I talk about this word called grit, G-R-I-T. And grit means, earlier I mentioned courage, okay, and resolve. Resolve is the determination to get things done. Yeah. And why do I talk about this word is because along this process, be it in ASEA or be in any other things that we are doing, in order to be successful, there will be a point of time whereby we will fail in whatever that we are doing. Maybe because of a lack of understanding, or we use the wrong approach, the wrong method. So there'll be points whereby things just doesn't work. And what got me through is what every time when I'm down, to courage to what? To accept, okay, what other people are telling me. Because sometimes it's not easy. I have a big ego, so sometimes it's not easy for people to tell me what to do. Okay, to listen to others, to reflect on myself, what I have done, is it working, okay, or is it not working? Yeah, I talk about workability rather than being a good person or a bad person. I'll look at whether this thing works or it doesn't work. So having the courage to go through, okay, what most people are fearful of is to go through the part of like not getting the results that we want. And the easy part is, of course, to say, hey, this is really not for me, and then pack up and then look for the next better opportunity. But when I look at ASEA, I was telling myself, if everything is in place already, what I need to just work on is really myself. So what I have to just push through. And of course, with clarity from the goals, okay, or the schedule that I have set, the actions that I need to take, every time I will just go out, meet people, speak to them, And the focus during that time was just playing the game of building D300. Very simple game, just D300. Okay, one more D300, 2, 3. Okay, so how do we get consistent D300 from the game of a seer? Yeah, so I make it fun for myself. Then how do we empower people to step up and then they are able to actually form their own D300? Yeah, in a fun way. And so that kept me going. And also every time I realized when things are not working, that is really the best opportunity to grow up, to learn from there, so that I can actually gain more experience from whatever that has actually make me fall. That will be the area whereby instead of the stone that actually trips me, it become my stepping stone for me to actually do better. So these are, I think, very, very important part of one of the aspects which I see is to have the courage to learn from the mistakes that we made, and also the determination to go on, because it's so easy to think of giving up. A lot of people I speak to, they sometimes it's what there's not a chance to speak to them because they have decided that this is not for me, and then they just move on in life. But I just realized this repetition keep happening over and over, in life. And this has happened to me in the past before. So I was telling myself, if this is going to happen, then the next opportunity, no matter how good it is, it will still not be for me, because what? The same challenge will come about. It will only stop only when I overcome it, when I actually grow myself. So this is where I see this platform give me the opportunity to actually not only grow myself, but I see many people like having this challenge as well. And I find it fulfilling to be able to coach and mentor people and see them grow and overcome these challenges and to become a better person. What I truly believe is today, if we want to make a difference to this world, first, the change must come from ourselves, and having the ability to pass this down to others so that they can actually change as well, adapt. And if more and more people are able to step up, I truly believe that as year, not only this technology will be able to impact many, many lives, I also believe that through this system that we are all building up, this education system that we're all putting in together, it can actually help more people to actually learn and grow together as well. And with the intention, like what aligned with Asia to be the force for good, that is something that resonates with me as well. So if you are someone who also wants to be a force for good, to make the world a better place, to see the people around us having better health, physically, mentally, and financially, I think this will be something that will be very meaningful for all of us to work together and learn together in this journey. Yeah. So Derek, anything you want to add on?
No, I just hope that you guys will set some time to take some action. Like what people say, life is a box of chocolate. It's full of surprises, but that's what we're designed to do as human beings, to look at that surprise so that it can impact us as better human beings. But just take that effort to make sure that you open up the box of chocolate, and don't open up too many boxes at one time. Right? You'll get very confused, right? So just open up one box, look at the chocolate, and then see what creative process you have. Provide, as long as your mind is the right stimulus, you will have an expectation that you'll be able to be a self-fulfilling prophecy to make that. You just have to believe that. It has happened to me, it has happened to many people in the sphere, and there's no reason, from different background, different experience, but there's no reason why it cannot happen to you. It's a very stable company. It's been around for 12 years now, it's still a blue ocean, just for you to share with as many people as possible. Thank you.
Okay, Chris, pass the time to you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Chong Beng and Derek, for the awesome sharing. What I hear from both of you is the key 6 pointers. I think is the ask, attitude, skill, knowledge. As for Chong Beng, the key thing is a purpose. Translate thoughts to action, and greed. GRIT.
Yep.
Okay. Now we open the to the floor. Anyone got any question for them? You can unmute yourself or raise your hand. Anyone got any question for Derek and Chong Beng? Feel free to ask them. Make use of this opportunity to ask them any question. No? Okay. Okay. In that case, let us do a photo taking. Everyone on your video, we will do a group photo taking.
Chris, there are some message there that I just saw.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, in the chat, yeah.
Okay. There's one, I think is from Japan.
I think it's Maza. Hi,
Yeah,
Maza. Hey.
When you feel low, what is your advice?
Derek, what's your advice? If someone's feeling low.
Well, if you're feeling low, as I say, that we all go through our bad hair day, should I say, things like that, right? So you just think of the positive things, think of all the grateful things, the abundance things which you have in your life, your family, your loved ones, and as well as your friends and things like that, which you have. I'm always grateful and full of gratitude in terms of what we have, because with gratitude itself, which you put in place, you focus on what you have rather than what you do not have. That way itself, this thinking itself will allow you to pick yourself up, because trust me, we live in the 21st century where there's no, major world war. Starvation is not, it's a different, it's not like the 20th century we went to 2 major wars and things like that. So everyone is, we have lived with abundance. So this is my attitude. I just be grateful for the people which I have around me, the people that's impacted me and helped me along the way, to the people that's made me who I am. And I believe that I can be stronger. I believe on my life fulfilling prophecy. I believe that my goals is going to be fulfilled as long as I have the expectation and create the right creative process and take the low period as a learning experience to discover yourself, to give meaning to yourself. Why are you feeling low? And so that you can pick yourself up again. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay, the next question will be for Chong Beng. Just now you mentioned about building D300. Yeah, can you elaborate more on the games that you mentioned building D300?
The game is very simple. Just write down a list of names, then start to catch up with them for coffee, listen to them, see what they need. And if there's a need which we can fulfill from us here, register them. And then after that, help them to get their friends. And if they have friends who have similar needs, then help them to enroll and register their friends. And when you repeat that process, you actually start to form D300. Okay, this is not like magic. It's really what Derek mentioned, very mundane thing that we are doing. Very simple things which you just do over and over and over again. As to some people, that might be quite boring.
Yeah, let me share a bit about the focusing part. To focus on the 20% of the activities to have the 80% impact. Very often you have to go through what Chong Beng mentioned, the mundane things, right? And the mundane things are things which may cause people and yourself to drift because it's mundane, right? To you, it's part of the chores. So in order for you to overcome that, you need to gamify the whole activities. Right? What I do in a CA is to get people to get involved in the fast forward challenge. Right? It's a game where people play. And if you look at it today, that why is it that game is so attractive? Why would people spend hours playing Angry Bird, or as well as different type of computer games and things like that, because it has a objective, it's got a purpose, it's got a reward, and it's got consequences as well inside. So if you look at it, most people will spend their energy and attention on things which is played as a game. I treated a seer when I started off like a game, a project with a game, and that's why I got a lot of people just to do fast forward challenge, and out of which I have failed myself or not successful in completing the fast forward challenge 23 times. I've been successfully completing my fast forward challenge 14 times, and I'm an ambassador double diamond. So you'd be surprised that once you can gamify certain mundane things in this activity, you will slowly lead to that 20% of high impact activities that produce 80% of the result. So I hope that helps.
Yep. Yeah. So Colin, yeah, hopefully that will give you some light as well. Yeah. So any other questions?
Any other question from the ground? Okay. So the key thing is focus and clarity, and some simple things that actually we do every day. It become a inbuilt habit, if I got it correctly.
It's more, it's an inbuilt habit, but more or less it's something which allow you to achieve your goals, which is what you want. So in the process of being focused in terms of, let's say, a seer itself, your expectation and your creativity behind this platform will flow. We want your creative juice to flow. If your creative juice is not flowing, you're not being relevant in your own life. You have to flow, right? So that you can reach your high expectation or expectation of what you need to fulfill, right? So, but in the process of doing this focus itself, you will develop your own clarity of what you need to do. And that's the beauty of this diversity. This platform is there, but there's many ways for you to lead to Rome. There's many ways, right? Because it's entrepreneurship 101, right? So the only way that's going to happen is you start penning it down. You can draw it, it doesn't matter. You don't have to write it. Picture paints 1,000 words, it doesn't matter. But as long as you schedule it and go through this process on a weekly basis and what you need to do on a daily basis, because a seer pays you every week. Yep. Every week. If you don't do the activities to produce this week, then you miss out 1 week. Right? And they pay out 52 weeks a year, right? And it's a very stable platform. So pen it down and take some action, and then along the way, you will fine-tune through that discovery or that process and reflecting upon your own ability and capability and your own potential on what you can do and what is your limitation. And that is the purpose of life. We awesome. Are life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Derek, for the awesome sharing, and also thank you, Chong Beng.